Hello there, everyone, and welcome to GamePoints episode 250. Your weekly get together, we talk about recent gaming news. I'm, as always, your host, Stephen Brown. Joining me today is...
I'm David.
Tonight...
Is this a milestone?
No. I mean, okay. Yes, technically. But we will do for this milestone what we have done for every milestone. Nothing.
Yeah.
I don't even promise a good show. I promise at least a mediocre one.
That's true.
And on that show tonight, we have the death of Stadia, maybe. We'll see. EA's bringing back some college football. We have a bunch of teases, delays, etc., and more. But first, I want everyone here to know that this is an audience interactive podcast. So if you're watching at home, live at Twitch TV/GamePoints, or later over at YouTube.com/GamePointsPC, feel free to join in the conversation. With any questions, comments, concerns, etc. you might have, just try to keep them germane to the topics on hand. David.
Yes.
You actually have something you've been playing this week.
Oh yeah, I have a game that I've played this week and a game that I tried to play this week unsuccessfully.
All right,
which one do you want first?
Let's end on a whimper. So start with the one that you actually did play.
Cyber Shadow, I think, is
I'm
fun.
told that's amazing.
That is on Game Pass, and somehow, I don't know how the fuck this happened. I was a PlayStation kid my entire goddamn life, then a PC kid, and for some reason Game Pass got me, and I'm now like a Game Pass whore. But it's really useful, and I don't buy video games at full price, and I can spend like $11 a month and play all kinds of games that I never would have played before. So Cyber Shadow is on that list, and it's pretty damn fun. It's a NES-ish era, like Metroidvania.
I have heard that it takes inspiration from Ninja Gaiden, Mega Man, and that Nintendo Batman game that was hard as hell.
It's pretty tough.
The Sunsoft one.
I'm only like a couple hours into it. I've been playing off and on, but it's been fun, and I really like the sound in it. It definitely gets that throwback. I swore when I saw the trailers that it was using the same like Genesis chipset that the Messenger was using, but listening to it, it's different.
Okay.
But it's near that era.
Okay.
But it's definitely fun.
I did get strong Messenger vibes from it, and it is published by Yacht Club Games, not produced or not developed by them. It's developed by, I think, just a single guy.
Yeah,
but it is.
He did a cool job.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about it, so I would recommend checking it out. What else did you try to play?
So I wanted to talk about this because I thought it was funny, but there's an ancient video game that people love on the internet called Ark.
Yeah, I know of it.
And I was bored, and I had a friend, and I was like, let's just try and play Ark for shits. So I wasted an entire night leaving my computer on to download all 150 gigs of that damn video game.
Jesus Christ. I didn't know it was that big.
However long ago was free on the Epic Store. And if you know me at all, you know that I have no issues with Epic because I've never punched in my credit card, and I just get free video games from them all the time, which is great. So we download Ark. We go to try and play it. We try and hit the like non-dedicated server. Like we'll make a private game, right? Just two of us, so we don't get grief, so we can like learn how to play before we try and actually play the game, right? Because you hear big survival games like that. If you're playing noob and you get on a big server, you're just going to get murdered by people that have been playing for hundreds and hundreds of hours.
Yeah.
So let's get over the hump at least, so we know what we're doing. It is impossible to play that game with friends.
With
using
friends?
Any kind of it's impossible to play that game multiplayer unless you're going to join one of the public servers, at least on the Epic version.
And why?
It will not connect. There's a million issues. You can't have it private. You can't have a password. You try and do it non-dedicated, it's going to give you error messages. All the threads online are from 3 years ago and say, here's all the ports you need to open, and here's all the router settings you need to do, and you're better off downloading one of the actual server managers and running your own server, but then you need another computer to do it, and it is so, like, mid-2000s video game dealings that I just don't have the time for it anymore.
Back when everyone tried to network their computers together and shit.
I am not that involved. I am not going to fucking download Hamachi again so that I can emulate a virtual LAN to play a game that is available to download in 2021 with my friends. That is fucking clown shoes.
Now, is this an Epic only thing, or is it on the Ark server side of things?
I think it's specific to the Epic Store version. So people that like to make fun of Epic, I may have to give a nod in your direction.
All right.
But I cannot vouch for the Steam version because I'm playing the one that I got for free. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
know
wouldn't
that you
spend money
can
on it.
play on the public servers. So if you want to join a game that's got 60 other people in it, that I haven't had any issues with. But trying to get a game going with just me and like a couple friends it's impossible.
Can you find a public server that has like rules like PvP turned off or something like that, or are you just going to get killed the second you spawn in?
I mean, probably, but all I wanted to do was make a private game.
Okay.
And it led to like 2 hours of aggressive Googling before I said, I don't have the energy for this anymore. I could just load up a different video game. The other fun thing is reading online, half the people were just like, just press Shift F3 to open the overlay and then invite your friend and everything will work. And half the time I couldn't even get the Epic overlay to open. Like in general.
All
So I'm
right.
like, man, this is a little ridiculous.
That's a shame because I do
And
have like a passing interest in Ark, but I don't want to be the first one to play it in our little friend group. I
exactly.
want someone to be the guinea pig.
And I'm the guy that has game ADD. So I love just trying games that I haven't played before just to get an idea if they're fun or if they suck or whatever and going from there.
Okay.
And it was frustrating because I'm like, I just want to try this game.
See,
And I'll probably be burnt on like after 10 hours of it because that's how I play video games.
right.
And I just can't even do
annoying? What's annoying about this is actually a game I had an interest in. And
The
it's
thing
not
that
that you
makes
played
it
it and it
worse-
sucked, it's that you just couldn't play it.
Yeah, no, that's what makes it worse. Is that playing the game while I was trying to like I had my little server, I opened a bunch of port routers, and I did all this crap. I followed a bunch of guides. The game itself is fun. So while I was waiting for people to connect, I'm running around and punching trees and making pickaxes, and like I killed a Triceratops. That is the pinnacle of my achievements, and it was great. Tons of fun. You got to eat food. You got to worry about being cold. The character creator makes the ugliest humans in the history of time, but it's like kind of the charm of the game. Like you're not trying to make attractive people. You're making the worst looking people of all time.
Fair enough. I can't argue with that, I guess.
You remember the episode of Rick and Morty where he gets injected so he can go fight in the death ball?
Yes.
And he has Armathy as his friend?
Yes.
I had a guy that was basically Armathy size. He had tiny legs, tiny torso, tiny head, giant arm.
Just one giant arm or two giant arms?
It was two giant arms.
Okay.
But scale-wise, that gives you an idea.
That is unfortunate. If you can get that game working, let me know how it goes. I'm sure I have that free on Epic as well because, well, it's Epic. Anyways,
right.
Enough of that. Let's go
also,
ahead.
I'm just throwing it out there. If anybody in chat or anybody that watches this knows how to make that game work on Epic, just send me a DM or something.
Let's go ahead and move on to the news of the week, David, and let's start off with the biggest one, flat out. Google shuts down Stadia Google Stadia shuts down internal studios.
Yeah, that's a very clear distinction.
Yes.
Google has not shut down Stadia.
No.
Stadia is alive and well enough.
Yeah.
But they have shuttered the game development studios that were working with Stadia, the internal studios.
From Google's blog. Given our focus on building the proven technology of Stadia, as well as deepening our business partnerships, we've decided that we will not be investing further in bringing exclusive content from our Returnal's development team, Stadia is SG&E, beyond any near-term planned games. With the increase on focus on our technology platform for industry partners, Jade Raybon has decided to leave Google to pursue other opportunities. We greatly appreciate Jade's contribution to Stadia and wish her the best luck in the future. Over the coming months, most of the SG&E team will be moving on to new roles. So all their games that they had in development, except for ones, they say near-term planned games, but I don't even know what those would be. I don't think they have anything planned for 2021. I think they might have something small planned, but it's all been shut off. And this is the first step in Google abandoning yet again another technology initiative that they started and just went, all right, bored now, and walked off.
Mm-hmm.
We have talked about all the shit Google has shut down. Remember Google Glass? There was Google Plus. There was Google Fiber.
Dude, I still miss Inbox.
Yeah.
Which no one talks about.
It is all ending except for the actual Stadia platform itself, which they're going to be turning over to third parties. And I can't see a single third party wanting to use this.
Yeah, because now we have the problem of people are just going to work on their own like product delivery service.
Yeah. I mean, even with EA opening up Origin to Steam and Epic, I think, I tried to download Star Wars Squadrons recently, and it still wants me to connect and make an Origin account. So they're still using their own platform. It's just fine. You can just find it on other things.
So annoying.
So it
makes me just think of the GeForce Now thing, right? Like that was tech that would have been really cool. That then like the companies are like, no. People can't play their own games on your server. Yeah. Not if they bought them. That's ridiculous. They should have to buy them again somehow.
No one is willing to build rather everyone is building their own thing, and no one is just going to outsource to Google when they can build their own thing and keep all that profit.
Yep.
That's just how the future is now.
Pour one out for Jade Raymond. Like, when's the last time she worked on a project that actually made it to the end?
So I did a cursory look at this. I think they did Star Wars Battlefront 2 because I believe she founded Motive with EA. And I think that game released before she left, but I'm not 100% positive on that. But she left her previous studio before then to go join Motive. They created one game before she left again to join Google Stadia, and now Stadia hasn't released anything, and she's leaving again. And I can promise whatever she was working on wasn't one of these near-term games. It was something probably big.
Right.
So, unfortunately...
There's also, 150 people out of work.
Yeah, 150 people out of work in teams based in LA and Montreal. They are apparently trying to get moved around to new roles in the company. So they're not guaranteed 150 layoffs, but it could be things for like reduced payroll.
I'm sorry, but like how many other Google products need a creative director or a writer or a
I'm not saying there aren't any layoffs from this. I'm just saying it's not necessarily 150 people getting laid off. We don't know what the number is going to be.
Probably like 137.
It's oddly specific, but all right, we'll roll with it.
This sucks. Like, I know we've both kind of assumed that Stadia was doomed just because of the fact that Google was making it, and they don't have a good track record of sticking with things.
No.
They had an internal studio that had some good amount of talent behind it, and before we even saw anything from it, it's just shuttered because they got bored. I mean, it's not making us money. Well, you haven't released a product yet.
Yeah, I think the writing on the wall of Stadia relatively quickly after it came out, because remember there was this big fanfare when Stadia first started, and then nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It was just dead silent. We heard nothing from
every once in a while we have a story that's just, hey guys, Stadia still exists.
Yeah.
It's crazy that to me, like the whole pandemic and lockdown and the inability to buy next-gen graphics cards and next-gen consoles seems like the perfect time for Stadia to rise.
They could have leaned into the Cyberpunk thing. They could have said, hey, you want the best place to play Cyberpunk? Play it on Stadia, because we actually have graphics cards of ray tracing.
Yep. And like really, really quick patch rollouts.
Yeah.
And yada yada. But I don't know, dude. It's just weird.
This feels like a pet project, or I don't even say a pet project because that makes it sound like someone's affectionate over it. This sounded like Google went, okay, I guess we'll try to get into gaming. And this is what they came up with. And the idea of it's cool, but it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. We've discussed, I don't want to get into the myriad of problems that Stadia had facing, not with the tech, but with the infrastructure side. You can only do so much with the infrastructure side of things. We've talked about how people's internet bills are going to get ramped up. So there's no way this is going to be something that the majority of America still could use.
And there's always the problem of support.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because they have the same problems that OnLive did, and OnLive had even more problems back in the day. But really, there's not much to play besides Ubisoft games, because for some reason they're the guys that will let their stuff launch on literally anything.
That's not necessarily a bad thing. You want to get your game out into the biggest market that you can. So I get why they do it.
It's funny that they're the only ones that'll do that.
Yeah. So, yes, Google Stadia internal game studios shutting down. That does not mean Stadia itself is shutting down just yet. But if I worked for anything Stadia related, I would consider getting my resume in order. I expect this to ramp down very, very quickly. And that is a shame. Back to Jade Raymond, by the way. She is now in that same category as people like Amy Hennig and Ken Levine, who are these names that we know, but haven't made anything in a very long time. Not necessarily because they're not trying to make anything, but because they have the fucking rug pulled out from under them. Amy Hennig, for example, was working on Uncharted 4, left Naughty Dog under might or may not be dubious reasons. There was always scuttlebutt that was a power struggle. I think that some people at Naughty Dog said that didn't happen.
It was
so tumultuous. I don't know how that happened. Yeah, maybe. It might have even been peaceful. We don't know. But then she went on to join Visceral Studios, I think it was, and they were making that Star Wars game, and then that got shut down, and now she's just kind of out in the ether somewhere. No one knows what she's doing. Jade Raymond in that same category.
Now we just need Amy and Jade Ken to make their own independent studio and then drop something.
Yeah. So there's a lot. This falls into that thing that we've been talking about, how more and more big name developers, Ken Levine being one of them, are just going off and forming their own little indie studios. Like, fuck it, I'll just make my own shit.
As it turns out that a lot of the people that are behind really making the games actually just kind of want to make video games.
Yeah. And we'll see, though, if Jade Raymond falls into someone who can actually develop something, if she goes on her own, or if she turns into more like a Tim Schafer or Peter Molyneux that overpromises and delivers. I'm not saying she's going to go independent, but I wouldn't be surprised if she does go independent after going through 2 studios already and not really releasing anything. I mean, once again, Battlefront 2, but I don't think she was working on Battlefront 2. I think she was working on
something else. Well, because it's already, it seems like the really big name talent aren't interested in going for a AAA studio, and Google was just outside of the scope enough that they were trying to build something, so I could see why she was excited for that project, because they're not an established AAA, but they had a lot of money they could throw at projects. So I see the appeal of why she'd want to join them. But now it's like, well, if those guys don't work and my options are like EA, Activision, or going to start my own thing, I'm probably going to start her own thing.
The last game she worked on was The Mighty Quest for Epic Loot at Ubisoft Montreal. Before then was Watch Dogs. So, I mean, she was heavily involved in the Assassin's Creed stuff. She was slated to head up Visceral Studios with Amy Hennig on that Star Wars game that got nuked, and then when that happened, she went to Motive, and then she left Motive to do... I really hope she does find something, because Assassin's Creed 2 and Bloodlines were really good, and Blacklist was good too. I like Blacklist quite a bit too. So, yeah, I feel for these developers, though, who put in the time, put in the years on something, only to just have it fall apart underneath it. That has to be frustrating as hell.
And it's even worse that it's not like the studio got together and then got their game out and then disbanded. Like, they don't even have anything to show for all the work they've been doing.
Yeah, and they probably don't get to talk about it either due to the various NDAs they have to sign.
Right? It just sucks.
Yeah, years of work gone. So yes, Google Stadia ending active game development. I would expect the platform itself to go away soon. David, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic here. This is a little bit off of what we normally do, but it's kind of big news, so I want to mention it.
Dude, yeah, let's talk about the fact that our next story is via ESPN.
Yeah.
Your number one source for video game related news.
And really bad sports takes. EA Sports returning to college football video games. Notice I did not say EA Sports making an NCAA football game. I said college football games. From the article. EA Sports is coming back to college football. After last making a college football game in 2013, the possibility of the game returning had been in limbo. Now it isn't. Daryl Holt, EA Sports Vice President and General Manager, told ESPN the game maker will be returning to the space with EA Sports College Football, and that is its actual name. The most generic fucking thing I can imagine. Back to there.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's a reason for it, by the way, and we'll keep going on. Holt said there's not a date on when the game will return, or even a date when it will return to be announced, other than that won't be coming this year. To make the game happen, EA Sports partnered with collegiate license company CLC to make sure it has the FBS schools, traditions, uniforms, and playbooks, among other things, ready to go for the game. Over 100 teams will be in the game. Note they are not Note that they did not say they're working with the NCAA itself. Back to the article, and there's a reason for it, I think. Back to the article. For now, EA Sports is planning to move forward without rosters that include the names, images, or likenesses of real college players. Current NCAA rules prohibit athletes from selling their NIL rights while in college. I think That is why they're not dealing with the NCAA, because the NCAA can go fuck itself because they don't allow the kids that they fucking exploit and make millions of dollars off of to have a little bit of a piece of that pie, and it's caused a bit of a hubbub over the past few years.
Yep,
where there's
fucking bullshit.
Yeah. More and more
people
pressure.
that are destroying their bodies that may or may not make it to the pro level and actually make money.
And let's be real here. They ain't getting an education. They're getting fucking rubber stamped to play football. Let's be honest here. Most of them, anyways. I won't say all. Most of them. And it's a bit of a little hot topic right now. So EA, coming back into the college sports thing, says, I don't want a part of that. I don't want to deal with that bullshit. We don't want to have to deal with people in the press asking us, do you think that these players should get paid? So they're just cutting out the controversy entirely, not dealing with the NCAA, and just going, hey, let's get the licenses for the school names and the mascots and such like that. But as far as the players go, we'll just randomly generate some shit with some random stats. And you know what? At the end of the day, I'd rather do that. I'd rather they do that. Because at the NCAA... It's
so ridiculous, though.
Yes, it is.
Because this is basically just a generic football game.
Yeah, I mean, they're calling it college... EA Sports College Football. I would rather do this, Sports though.
Football, because it doesn't... you may as well randomly generate the teams.
Yeah. I would rather they do this, however, than pay the NCAA to use the likeness of someone who will never see a dime.
Yeah, for sure. And then have the kids show up to get facial scanned and all that other stuff, and then have to go about their day and not make anything on it.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
I have for years. I don't watch football; it's not my thing. But I have for years gone off on the fact that these fucking kids can't make a goddamn red cent on what they do when the NCAA fucking makes millions and millions of dollars. And the excuse they use when they go, well, they're getting an education. Fuck you.
Didn't we have an article, maybe a year back, of one of these kids that was trying to stream on Twitch and was making money, and the NCAA tried to come after him for using his likeness for profit?
They might have. I know that the WWE...
We went on a big rant about something related to that.
I know the WWE has done something like that recently, where they had a couple of their wrestlers streaming.
Maybe I'm thinking of the wrestling thing then.
Yeah, they had their wrestlers streaming, and the WWE was coming after them, demanding their cut.
Vince McMahon's like, sorry, no, you're not allowed to do that because I created you and I deserve royalties on everything you do.
Yeah. I believe that. I know that happened, and we might be getting that confused. Hey there, Dirk Diggler, by the way. Good to have you. But if EA is going to make a college football game, I would rather just not do this until this shit gets resolved. And you know what? From what I understand, apparently there is some big changes coming up over the next year or two, which could be why they're not announcing a date for this anytime soon. Because they said, hey, it's not this year, and we're not even going to tell you when it's going to be. So they could be waiting for whatever changes are coming to happen. They might be privy to some information that's not public yet that might maybe give the players a cut and then go from there.
But then, why even announce it? It just seems so weird. Hey, guys, we have this game. We're going to start college football again, but it's not coming out anytime soon, and it's not going to have any of the players in it, and we'll probably have the team mascots, and maybe we'll have more information in a year.
There's an exceedingly simple reason for it. You might not like it, but there's an exceedingly simple reason for it.
Money?
Yep.
It's always money.
Hey, yeah, exactly. They announced it because it might be good for stock. It might be good for investors to know, hey, we're getting back into this. We're going to have a new avenue to generate revenue. Invest in us.
Yeah.
Let's see. It's like that time, chat says, it's like that time 2K made a football game on the PS2 that had fantasy teams. Oh, yeah, this is during the great EA Madden versus 2K games, football games, where the 2K games are starting to get more and more of the market share away from Madden, so fucking EA just bought the NFL exclusivity rights.
License, yeah.
And 2K made one game one year, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was essentially fantasy teams. It was like the San Francisco Barracudas instead of the 49ers or something like that. It was really bad. I
think they're all ridiculous, and they just need to start making blitz games again. Let's be real. We all know that those were the better football games.
Yeah, give me Mutant League football. Base wars. I like robots shooting baseballs at each other.
I mean, Blood Bowl's got a little bit of a spot, right?
Yeah, you know, Blood Bowl's had a little bit of a resurgence of the Games Workshop side. I know it's kind of, I don't want to say big on Steam, but what was a dead IP, Blood Bowl has seen some action in the past few years. Surprisingly, seen some action in the past few years. What do you think? Do you have anything you want to add to this, David? I definitely want to get off. That's the main reason why this story's in here, so I can just be mad at the NCAA.
You love being mad at stuff. Whoa, Stealthy Twitchy says that there's a Blood Bowl 3 coming out this year? I feel like we should have known that.
Yeah, you know, so here's the thing. I don't play Blood Bowl specifically, but I'm a big Games Workshop fan. I like a lot of the stuff they do. So thank you for letting us know that, Stealthy Twitchy.
That's pretty exciting. In unrelated news that you can get mad at, the thing that you fear at all times is happening yet again,
I check for this motherfucker in the closet when I go to bed.
Just so you know, Tencent, yes, that very, very large Chinese company that's slowly buying a lot of the video game entertainment industry, has acquired a minority stake in Dontnod Entertainment. Dontnod, for those who don't know, are the ones who made like Life is Strange and those games, right?
Yeah,
it's those guys.
Life is Strange. They did Remember Me.
Was it Remember Me? Or was it
Remember Me? I also think they did Vampire as well, spelled with a Y.
Oh, okay. Vampire.
Which I'm told is actually a good game. Janky as all hell, but I'm told there's a lot of fun to be had to it.
Good if you can get used to like the ridiculous run animation. If you run in with that character and then stop, it takes you like 6 seconds to lose momentum so that you can turn around. I don't know that that's on purpose.
I actively hate that. It's like that ice effect in the Mario levels.
Yeah. Anyway, from the article, which is actually from Actus News.
This is the press release from Dontnod.
Okay, thanks. In connection with the offering, Tencent Holdings Limited, Tencent, has undertaken to invest 30 million euros to support the studio's development through its subsidiary, Proxima Beta Europe BV, because that's how this shit happens. As part of this investment, Tencent has an option to propose the appointment of a representative on the board of directors. The funds raised will mainly be used to finance the ramp-up of Dontnod's strategy to develop new self-published intellectual properties.
You are right to fear Tencent. I will say that every single time we bring up this story. Furthermore, a lot of companies sometimes will go out of the way to say, hey, Tencent does not have any sayings in our day-to-day life. They're just investors. They just have a little bit of money in here. We assure you there'll be no changes at the base level. Here, they're straight up saying, yeah, they have a chance to propose an appointment on the board of directors.
Yep. And the board is going to decide the future of that company.
Let's see. Stuffy Twitchy and Twitch in chat says, speaking of Tencent, TikTok's Douyin sues Tencent for monopolistic behavior. Published on a timed out link. It's not going to let you put links to chats, unfortunately, 17 hours ago. So it sounds like they could be getting sued by the TikTok guys. Interesting.
All right.
You're right to fear TikTok as well. Both of those are essentially controlled by the Chinese government. Just flat out. And the information they have can be turned over to them at a whim. That's what you have to do to run a business in China.
Anyway, Tencent getting its hands in even more of the pie, and
they're going to buy another.
This is yet another small company, so it will not meet the criteria of my prediction, which I know it's only February, but I feel like it's coming any day now.
You feel like something? Yeah. Hey, this has been one hell of a month so far. Tencent's going to buy Dontnod outright. Back to what I was talking about how most companies say, hey, they're not going to be affecting our day-to-day, but the fact that they put in the fact that Tencent can put in a representative on the board of directors means they're going to start putting their people in place, and they're going to start encouraging Dontnod to sell completely to Tencent. I expect Tencent to buy up Dontnod within a year and a half.
We will see.
David?
We will see. Yes.
Let's go to another company that Tencent is part of, and that is Activision Blizzard. And the fact that they are doing BlizzCon Online. February 19th to the 20th.
BlizzConline.
Now, they didn't do a BlizzCon last year. Not even a virtual one, did they?
Online.
Did they do a virtual BlizzCon last year? I don't remember.
I feel like they did, but I don't know for sure. I just feel like we yelled about Blizzard a lot, so I feel like it probably happened.
Yeah,
because
I
think the BlizzCon of last year is when they had the half-assed non-apology the
That was
whole.
the year before.
Was it?
Yes,
Oh
absolutely.
man,
They
sorry.
did.
Last year was a blur.
Yeah, I did. For the most part, 2020 for anyone in the world just doesn't exist. It was a year of our lives we'll never get back. BlizzCon was canceled last year, so this is kind of like the makeup show for that. It's going to be virtual only, and let me tell you what Blizzard says about it.
Okay, let's sit on the edge of our seats, everybody.
BlizzConline, I should say.
Yeah,
is an
BlizzConline.
all-digital community celebration and exhibition of Blizzard games and universes. We'll be celebrating some fun milestones, shining a spotlight on epic things Blizzard community has been up to, and sharing the latest Blizzard game news with everyone. You'll be able to watch the entirety of the show completely free throughout the BlizzCon website, where you can choose between 6 channels of content covering your favorite games. If you miss anything along the way, don't worry, you'll be able to watch it later free in the BlizzConline video archives. So it doesn't sound like they're charging any kind of like virtual ticket like they have done in the past for the actual big BlizzCon shows. And between you and me, there's probably not going to be anything really announced at this other than check-ins with the development of Diablo Immortal, Diablo 4.
I was gonna say, so it's 6 channels of content. So which 6 video games are they gonna talk about? Overwatch?
Overwatch 2.
I don't think. We're not gonna hear anything about StarCraft.
Hearthstone.
Hearthstone will
Diablo
be on
Immortal.
the list.
Diablo 4.
Yeah, are we gonna get Diablo 4 information?
Yeah, they'll mention something about it.
Okay.
They have to. They can't. I mean, they can't have the brave red shirt guy standing up.
They're going to have continuous content.
You're not going to be able to have the red shirt guy standing up and hammering them, so they could get away with not mentioning it. But they have to mention something on Diablo 4. There's no way they haven't learned their lesson on it. So, Overwatch 2, Hearthstone, WoW, Diablo Immortal, Diablo 4. I don't know, something esportsy.
Something esportsy.
Yeah, I don't know what. Something esportsy. Sure. I wish I had a better answer for you.
Durgan Chat says it's really up to all their overlords.
Yeah, it is. What you won't hear is anything about Hong Kong or China, other than how
they ain't gonna mention Winnie the Pooh. That's for fucking sure.
I can promise you, though, there's not going to be any big information coming from this. You won't get any kind of release dates. You won't get any kind of new IP announcements. They would not do this for BlizzConline. They would wait till they had another physical show again, which might be this year. We'll see. Let's see. Stuffy Twitching asks, any bets on your other prediction on which gaming site shutters in 2021? GameStop, IGN, Kotaku. I wonder if IGN will close their content sites and move into the business entirely into Humble. Okay, so for those of you who missed our predictions, I gave one of my predictions for 2021 was that a major gaming website will close its doors this year. I don't think it's going to be IGN, but it could be. I don't think it's going to be GameStop, but it could be. Let me give some background into why.
Please,
I think this.
For once, will you say GameSpot and stop saying GameStop?
Sorry, GameSpot.
You can do it, man. I know. I've heard you say it before. I believe in you. I know you worked there for a long time.
My logic behind this is because news media, specifically digital news media, is going to take a pounding this year. And they already have been. For reasons I'm not going to get into. I fully believe that the media companies are going to take a pounding this year. And they're going to start having to shed off the weight. They're going to have to cut the fat. And there's nothing fatter than these gaming outlets. IGN, I believe, is owned by not Ziff Davis anymore. Someone. I don't remember who IGN's owned by. I think like J2 or something like that. GameSpot is owned by CBS Interactive. Kotaku is owned by what was the Gawker Media Group, which I believe is now bought by Univision. I'm not 100% positive on that either. And I don't know who owns Polygon, but the point is, Go Media owns Polygon. The point of all of this is
Vox owns Polygon.
Vox owns Polygon. Okay, maybe Go Media owns Kotaku now. I can't remember who owns what. The point is, all these sites are not on their own. They are all owned by a bigger media conglomerate. If I had to guess what one of these would go away, I would guess Kotaku. Because they have blood talent over the years. They have some union issues going on. And I think that the overlords who run Kotaku will just shut it down and kill it. I think. Personally, that's where I'm at. But
I'm
if
thinking
I had
GameSpot.
I was going to say, if I had to pick a second one, GameSpot. Because CBS Interactive is going to take a big hit on their news media side as well. And they are far more focused on news media than oh my God, owns Kotaku? Go Media. Go Media is a little bit more diversified in the portfolio. So is CBS. I mean, CBS is, it's all the TV shows and everything like that. But they are folded into the news umbrella of CBS Interactive, I believe. But hey, what do I know? I'm just some guy behind a microphone. But if I had to guess, it would be Kotaku first, then GameSpot.
Man, I'm so proud of you.
I think the IGN name is too valuable. Yeah. I think that they would sooner just sell it off to another media company than close it down.
Also, neither of us seem to be worried about Polygon at all because we didn't mention it. So I think they'll be okay too.
Yeah, and to just be honest with that, I don't know much about Polygon. I don't know any of the people there. I haven't spoken to anyone there. It just is what it is. David?
Well, there you go.
Let's move on to the next topic here. Why don't you go ahead and lead this one here?
From YouTube, our favorite news source, we have a new trailer for Destiny 2 Beyond Light.
It's
Season
from
of the
Bungie.
Chosen. I know they put it on their post, but I like calling YouTube as a reliable source for information. Hey, dude, we're on YouTube, right? That means YouTube contains. I don't know. I got nothing. Anyway, Season of the Chosen trailer dropped. It's Cabal focused, which I just don't like the guinea pigs. It is what it is. We'll talk about it.
Do you really just hate the Cabal? Like, who's your favorite? Because you apparently seem to hate the Cabal. Of the 5 main enemy archetypes, who's your favorite?
Probably the Vex.
The Vex? Okay. They're definitely the most interesting.
Yeah.
I want to know more about them.
I think as a bad guy, the Cabal are very boring.
Okay. Fair enough.
I think they're like very cookie cutter, moldy, generic bad guys, and I also think they look like guinea pigs.
All right.
Anyway, back to the news. There's a 3-man activity called Battlegrounds where we'll fight. I don't know how you say that guy's name.
Katil. It's the Emperor's daughter who's taken over.
Anyway, you'll fight chosen warriors.
This strikes me as like a horde mode. Apparently, it's going to be you and 3 people fighting off against a bunch of really tough Cabal. It strikes me as either a horde mode or were you playing Destiny back when the Prison of Elders was a thing? And I don't mean the strike. I mean the actual Prison of Elders that was kind of randomized.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. There was a strike called Prison of Elders where essentially it was a couple waves of enemies and then a boss. And then a couple waves of enemies and then a boss. And then a couple waves of enemies and a boss. That's what this strikes me as.
Strikes?
Yes.
Yes. All right, how about the Fallen Saber and Devil's Lair strikes from Destiny 1 coming back?
We knew that was going to happen. We just didn't know when.
How about the new strike Proving Grounds?
This reminds me a little bit of the old Destiny 1 strike when you had to go into the giant Cabal tank. Because it looks like you're going to one of those giant Cabal tanks on this, too.
I mean, I like driving tanks, so I'm down for that.
I mean, this thing's huge. You're not going to drive it. It's in Destiny 1 on Mars, way back when, there was a strike that ended in a giant tank. And by tank, I should roughly say, like, land aircraft carrier. It's massive. It's huge. And this looks like you're entering one of those.
All right, we also got new season armor, an exotic bow. And,
did you see what this bow does?
Is it like a ricochet round?
I don't exactly know how it's going to work, but apparently it's a multi-target bow. And the bow's kind of what I want to focus a little bit more on the Destiny trailer here, because it shows the Guardian shooting multiple targets at once with this bow, and they're all just hitting. Now, the only way I can think that you can pull that off is if it has some kind of auto lock-on feature.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to make PvP unbalanced as hell.
Yeah, but like, how much of this is trailery and how much of this is...
Good point. It could just shoot out like a spread of 5 arrows.
Right? And that's just the way that the trailer plays.
In which case, then, yeah, you have a shotgun bow.
Mm-hmm. But we'll see.
I don't know.
We don't
just
know.
That bow specifically, I think, has a chance of unbalancing things.
I don't think I would be surprised in the slightest if they managed to put in a completely broken, unbalanced bow into Destiny 2, which recently, when Beyond Light dropped, released a completely broken superpower
Yeah.
that completely destroyed PvP.
I still remember the days of Promethean Lens,
weeks.
man. I long for those days. Yearn for those days. Long for those days. What the hell?
Yeah, it's a new trailer. It's neat. I'll probably play it because I like playing Destiny 2
I do
sometimes.
like playing Destiny 2. And that drops next week, Season of the Chosen. I think it's next week.
Yeah, I just like new content.
Yeah.
I'm here for new content because I really don't care about getting milestones.
You hate grinding. You absolutely hate grinding.
I can't stand it. Give me something new to do.
David?
Yes.
You know what's not going to be making new content anymore?
What?
Ninja Theory's Bleeding Edge. Now, do you remember what Bleeding Edge was?
Vaguely.
All right. So Bleeding Edge was this weird
like
4x4 brawler / fighter that Ninja Theory made. I remember them showing the trailer for it a while ago. We both ridiculed it because it looked like they were trying to do a hero shooter 4 years after the gate.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Was this like their hero shooter looking thing?
Well, it never took off, and they're ending development on it from the post from Ninja Theory itself. The studio now focusing on new projects, Suna's Saga, which is Hellblade 2, Project Mara, which I don't know anything about, and the Insight Project, which I also don't know anything about, we have decided that there will be no further content updates for Bleeding Edge. The game will still be playable on Xbox and PC. Thank you to the fans for keeping the team and causing chaos. So no more new updates, no more new characters, no more new any of that good stuff, but good on them for keeping the servers open so people can still play it. Hey there, Marathon, how are you doing?
Yeah, at least it's doing better than Battleborn, which is officially
dead.
Shut it.
Did they actually shut the doors on it?
Yeah, I think it's completely dead as of this week. I don't remember the exact date though. So
okay, I have a couple more small bits that I want to get through real quick as we're approaching the last
we love bits.
Mass Effect Legendary Edition, dated and some details, is coming out May 14th, and all 3 games will be put into one launcher. All
I love how they only mentioned 3. There's only 3 of those, right?
No, Andromeda doesn't exist. It will have 4K enhanced visuals, textures, models, including modern graphic improvements and updated UI and more. Improvements to the first one, and this actually has me kind of excited. Improved aiming, weapon balance, improved sound, improved macro controls. Thank God that car in the first Mass Effect drove like ass. I hope it controls better. Squad AI and cover mechanics and cameras. If you take a look at the screenshots, it really does make Mass Effect 1 look a lot more like Mass Effect 2 or 3. It kind of normalizes the style of the HUD between all 3 games.
I'm excited to see this, but I have no intention of pre-ordering it or getting all hype about it because I just, ever since Dark Souls, I can't give a shit about a remaster because some of them are so lazy. I mean,
yes, and
obviously I'm not talking about Final Fantasy VII. That's a remake. That's a whole different thing. But the remaster train, I really need to see what it looks like before I get excited.
And you specifically talking about Dark Souls remaster, not the recent Demon Souls remaster.
I mean specifically the Dark Souls remaster that, in my opinion, looks definitively worse than the actual original game. And the only advantage it has is that it can run at 60 FPS native and without any fixes.
From what I have seen, this does look better and a lot better. My only concern is that there's a lot of lens flare all over the place.
Oh no, they had the remasters directed by J.J. Abrams.
Yes. If you the 2 screenshots they use, you know how sometimes they put the slider on there so you can see the difference. Mm-hmm. There's 2 little video clips and 2 screenshots. The screenshots they put up there, they used, both of them had lens flare in roughly the exact same corner of the screen.
Oof.
So it looks like the exact same lens flare too. That's what's really bad. So I'm like, oh no, that looks really shoddy. But I'm looking forward to this. Have you ever actually played the Mass Effect games?
No, not really. I never finished one.
Oh man, you're missing out.
That's what I'm told, but I can't go back and play the first one because I can't go back and play the first one.
Well, it does look a lot better. I get that whole there's a reason why I can't go back and play the original Final Fantasy VII anymore. Mm. Love that game when it came out.
There's a certain era of 3D game that I just can't I can't do anymore. And
it just looks too bad.
I feel like a shitty human for that, but it is what it is.
No, this
I can go back to 2D games just fine.
Couple more things, like I said. We have Evil Genius 2 World Domination getting a release date. It's going to be on Steam, March 30th, 2021. Do you know what Evil Genius was, David?
No, I don't.
Do you know what Dungeon Keeper is?
Yes, I do.
It is essentially the James Bond version of Dungeon Keeper.
Okay, that's cool.
Where
I like that.
you play like a super villain, like Hank Scorpio, and you create your abandoned Spider Skull Island, and special agents keep trying to sneak in there to stop you, and you create
made by the
various
guys that
death
make like
traps.
Project Hospital.
I don't know if they made Project Hospital, but this is made by Rebellion.
Okay, because it looks a hell of a lot like that.
Fun fact about Rebellion: the CEO of that video game company is literally a knight, and I don't mean like he was knighted by a British order. I mean he lives like a medieval knight. He like makes chainmail. He knows how to joust. He has like this show on YouTube called Modern History, I think, where he talks about like what people ate in medieval times. Mm-hmm. Really interesting. Chat's asking, it would have been more interesting if they could have successfully ported it to the Switch. CDPR was able to bring The Witcher 3 to Switch, which in itself had technical achievement in of itself. Did you play Witcher 3 on the Switch? Because yes, it runs, it works, but I hardly say it's a well, you know, I take that back. I don't want to be too harsh on it. The fact that they have that game working somewhat stable on the Switch is impressive. It just is significantly downgraded.
If all you have is a Switch and that's your only way to play Witcher 3, it's pretty rad.
I don't see why the Mass Effect trilogy can't be on Switch, though.
Right?
Didn't they put the third one on Wii U? They put it on Wii U. They can easily put it on Switch.
Yep.
I'm just double checking to see if I see it anywhere. And let me look at their pre-order page here. I just want to make sure. Yeah, well, Origin, PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam.
There you go. While you're talking about that, we also had a teaser for Total War Warhammer 3.
It looks like it's Total War Warhammer 3. I'm kind of going out on a limb when I say they're teasing that game specifically. It's been the series of videos that have been released in every 14 hours or so of essentially a guy in the capital of the Empire looking at the stars and kind of freaking out. The reason why everyone seems to think it's Total Warhammer 3 is because, one, Creative Assembly, the guys that do it, Total War Warhammer, I should say. Creative Assembly, the guys that do it, did say that COVID delayed the release of this game. It was supposed to come out last year. Now it's sometime this year, but they haven't said when, so we could be getting an announcement soon. Additionally, the Total War Warhammer series was envisioned as a trilogy. They have only done 2 of the games so far, and they're kind of out of ideas to add onto the second game at this point. I can't think of anything else they can add to it.
Well, there's also, I mean, keeping it to the 40K thing, the video says Sigmar in it, right? That's like the title of the video. So,
I know it's Warhammer Fantasy related, and it's Creative Assembly, so it has to be that. The question is this Warhammer 3, or did they find some way to make some new DLC for Warhammer Total War or Total War Warhammer 2?
Well, we will see.
Looking forward to it. This
is our favorite thing. This is a teaser, which is an announcement of a trailer.
I am looking forward to Total War Warhammer 3. And I hope they do something like they did when the second one came out. Did you ever play the Total War Warhammer games, David? Have you played any Total War game?
I played Total War Three Kingdoms for a little bit.
Okay, so you have an idea of how they look.
Yes.
You have like the top map, and then you go into a smaller area. So Total War Warhammer 1 was the western side of the world, or the eastern side of the world. Total War Warhammer 2 was the western side of the world. If you owned both games, you could actually play a game mode where they combined both maps.
Oh, dude, like Crusader Kings and Europa Universalis.
Yes, just like that.
Cool.
But whereas one is you import your game into another game, this was just like, okay, here you go. Here is one game, and it just has every faction doing its own thing across this massive map.
All right.
So, but it's along those lines, where if you own 2 separate games, there's some functionality between them. I'm wondering what they would do for 3. My gut tells me that they're going end times with it, which was the big event that kind of rebooted the Warhammer Fantasy, which means you wouldn't be adding any extra map real estate, but you would be putting in more apocalyptic events, maybe some of the storyline from that working its way into there as well. That's just what my gut tells me. I'm sure that by the time we do next week's show, we will have more details on that.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, last bit of news, Returnal has been delayed. Now, do you know what Returnal is?
Yeah, dude. It's the new House Marquee game.
Yeah. Returnal has a new release date of April 30th, 2021. Sony Interactive Entertainment and Housemarque have made a decision to move the release date in order to give the team extra time to continue to polish the game to the level of quality players expect from Housemarque. I love Housemarque. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, I always call them Housemarque because I'm an ass, but I actually really like that studio. I think they do really fun video games.
I'm really scared for them. I don't think this is a good sign. I don't think this is a good sign. I think that the lack of news on Returnal, other than the delay, shows that Sony doesn't necessarily have faith in it. I know that Housemarque is on a knife's edge when it comes to their books because they openly said, hey, we can't make these cool twin-stick arcade shooters anymore because they don't sell. So they tried to make another game called Storm something. I can't remember what it was called, but that didn't go anywhere. So they pulled out of that and they started making Returnal instead. So they weren't making money with their arcade games. They put a lot of money into another game that got kind of canceled halfway through. And now they're on this game that has now been delayed and it doesn't seem to be getting much hype. If this doesn't do well, I think Housemarque is gone.
It's just a bummer because they've made some really... I love Nex Machina. I thought the game was dope.
Resogun is amazing.
Super fun.
Dead Nation's great. Alien Nation, not so much. Did they do Super Stardust 2 as well? Super Stardust, I think.
I think so, and they did Matterfall.
Yeah. They're all great arcade games. The problem is that arcade games don't... It's such a niche genre. I like myself an arcade game.
The problem is that there are arcade games that are exclusive to Sony platforms.
Yeah, not... No,
whereas
this one
if you took the entire catalog of Housemarque games and released them on Switch, I feel like they would do better.
I would love a Housemarque collection. Furthermore, complicating the problem with this game. Not only is this one of the first Sony exclusive, this isn't even coming out on Steam, they're charging $70 for it.
Oh my god, really?
Yep, it is a $69.99 game.
That's trouble because I can't think of any Housemarque game I would want to spend $60 on.
Let alone $70.
Let alone $70. I mean, I'm not going to spend $70 on any video game. I think we've had this discussion. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
If all video games move to $70, I'm never buying another new game.
It absolutely prices it prices me out, and this is the one hobby I do is video games. So yeah. That's saying something. If this game, $60 was, I had to think about it, but 70 is just, I'm not even going to consider it. I'm out.
No. I thought that this was like a $30 game they were going to charge $40 for, and I'm like, I could see it, right? You can do that.
Yeah.
$70? Nah,
$70.
I'm sorry.
Furthermore, it's a roguelike. I love me a roguelike, but there's something about roguelikes I look at and go, there's no way that's worth $70 because
I'm sorry, Hades is a video game and I bought it for $20. And
yeah, exactly.
I don't care how good Returnal is, it's not better than Hades. It's just not. It can't be.
I am really, really concerned for the future of Housemarque because I think this game, regardless if it is good, mediocre, or bad, I think this game is doomed to fail.
It's a bummer, dude. It's also a PS5 like exclusive, right? You can't play it on PS4.
Limits its market. It just so much about this game is
already aimed at a niche market.
Yeah,
that's overpriced. That's releasing on a console that most people physically cannot own because they are impossible to find.
Yeah, I am really, really concerned for Housemarque. I don't want this to be their siren song, but I think a swan song, but I think it's going to be siren song. I am really, really concerned that they are gone after this. I hope Returnal does well. I really want this game to sell well. I want Housemarque to keep making games, but the deck is stacked against them on this one. David,
yes,
it's going to be a while before we find out if Housemarque exists another year or not.
At least 2.5 months.
At least 2.5 months. What can I do to keep myself entertained between now and then?
Man, if you're talking about this week, not a lot. But we do have a few new releases. Up first, we have Habroxia 2 releasing for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, and Vita. Of course, we had to talk about this one first. Any Vita release is newsworthy, in my opinion. This is a 2D side-scrolling shoot-'em-up. Blast off for a sequel that pushes every facet of 2D shoot-'em-ups to escape velocity, is their tagline. And I do very much enjoy a good 2D shoot-'em-up. Looking at this game, looks like if you are in the need for another side-scrolling shoot the guys to the right game, this is one for you. But surface level, cursory research, I don't see anything that makes it stand out. genre-wise?
I played this yesterday.
Did you?
Yes, full disclosure. I got 2 of them. One, the PR team gave me a code for this game for free, and I did play it in its entirety yesterday. It took me roughly 2.5 hours to get from beginning to end with all the little collectibles found, but not doing New Game Plus. I also did a little boost rush mode, which is kind of like a level that is exceedingly fast. There's also a boss rush if you want to go. I gave that a try. The second disclosure is I donate on Patreon to someone who is on half of the team that made this game.
Okay.
So I know
so
that
with all those caveats, what did you think?
I liked it.
Right.
I thought it was fun. It is like a Gradius Life Force R-type-ish game.
Yes. Does it do anything specifically to stand out from those games that
you don't fire straight? You fire Smash TV style.
Oh, it's like a twin stick shooter,
but on a Gradius field.
All right.
So you're scrolling forward or up. The map will sometimes rotate up, and you go up, and then you rotate that.
Classic.
But your gun can shoot in any direction you pull.
Oh, now see.
So that is different as far as that genre goes.
Gradius with Smash TV controls. That's interesting. That's
There
news.
is also a boost function to it where you can ram through walls. Okay. And you become invincible for a little bit. Your ship is not stuff. Yeah, your ship isn't one-hit kill. It has a life bar. Even if you run into something, you respawn and you just lose a little bit of life.
Interesting.
But it is only 1 life. If you lose that life, you have to go back to the beginning of the boss again. The beginning of level again. I will say the base game itself, I did not play New Game Plus, but the base game itself, kind of easy. And some of the AI for the bosses is very lackluster. There's more than a few of them where you can just kind of hide in the lower right of the screen. And you'll be fine. Mostly you have to move occasionally. But I liked it. I thought it was an entertaining playthrough, but also keep in mind I didn't pay for it. So, like, if it was free, I did not waste my time. I don't know how much it's releasing at. I think it's like $15, $20.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere around there. If you really like this genre of game, I don't see it doing anything amazing, but it is good. I was craving something like this for a while, too. That helps. I was close to playing the Konami Classic Collection, where it was like had all like the Twin Bee, Gradius, Life Force Thunder on there. I thought about starting that up, and then this came out, and I played that instead, and it
scratched the
satisfied that itch. Yeah, it scratched that itch.
All right.
I did like it, though.
See, for me, this is another one of those times where I'm going to be an ass and just say, when's it going to be on Game Pass?
I don't know. Probably not for a while.
Really.
Probably not for a while.
Also out this week, we have Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood for the PlayStations, the Xboxes, and PC, but this is an Epic exclusive. Don't expect to see it on Steam anytime soon. This game looks pretty interesting to me. It's a unique experience full of savage combat and mystical adventures. You are Cahal, a powerful Garu who can transform into a wolf and a Krynos. For those who are unfamiliar with Werewolf, you can often play as a human or a wolf and shift to Krynos, which is the werewolf form. You know,
yeah,
in the
it's
middle.
Typical like Werewolf of London kind of gonna fuck you up form.
So this game seems actually kind of neat to me because it's a game about actually using all 3 forms that are present. Well, technically there's 5 in the tabletop, but regardless, 3 different forms of, your full wolf form, your full human form, and your werewolf form during gameplay. So when you're human, you can talk to people, you can do things. When you're a wolf, you can be very sneaky and people don't notice you as much. And, when you're a werewolf, you just murder shit. And I haven't seen enough gameplay of this to really have an opinion. So I'm really curious to see what the reviews look like, because this might be pretty rad.
I'm concerned about it for a couple of things. One, I don't think it looks visually that impressive. It does look like a budget title, but that's what Cyanide Studios does.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. It doesn't look like it's from 2003.
They are
using at least got smooth textures.
They are using the World of Darkness license, which I like, but they're using clans that I hate. But I love Pentex, who's the bad guy. But it's not Pentex proper. It's a subsidiary of Pentex Enron, which I fucking care less about. It's all this stuff. Additionally, Cyanide Studios. Okay. These are the guys that made Styx, Master, and Shadow. That is an amazing stealth game. It's an amazing budget stealth game. They make the Blood Bowl games, which we were talking about earlier. Awesome. I can get into that. They made the most recent Call of Cthulhu game, which was a very cool little mystery. They also made Space Hulk Deathwing.
Okay. To be fair, Space Hulk Deathwing did launch as a horrendous clusterfuck of a video game. Did you ever play the enhanced edition that they released for free?
No.
Because you returned it within 2 hours on Steam, correct?
Yes. Deathwing was like one of maybe 3 games that I can think of that I literally bought and returned within like an hour of playing it.
The Deathwing that the studio had worked to correct and improve that you can play now via the enhanced edition of that game is different and much, much better than the version that you played at launch.
Okay.
Just so you know. Because I've actually gone back and played the enhanced edition of Deathwing because we've talked about it. You know, that's in my wheelhouse. I want to play as a giant space marine and I want to kill aliens, and I think that's super fun. It's much better now. So
the studio has a very muddy track record with me, so I don't have hopes for this being good, but I want it to be good because I love the license so much. And Werewolf of the I
love the fact that they're leaning into Werewolf and you actually get to like shapeshift. Like that's really cool to me.
I'm just very concerned about it because it reminds me of a game that I did a preview on like back in 2012. It was one of the first like previews I ever wrote for a site, and I can't remember its name, but it dealt with like a vampire, and that game just blew hard. And I'm watching trailers for this game, and it looks exactly like it.
That's funny.
And I am like, oh god, this is just going to be that over
We'll have to see. Long-standing GamePoints motto, though, obviously, we don't want you to pre-order, and at this point, we want you to write for reviews because no game is worth full price on release day.
No, not anymore. There's a couple of them that are, but that's such a small list at this point. Like, for example, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima. Those are games I'd easily have paid $60, even $70 for, and I would have been happy with them.
Yeah, but you're talking to like some of the absolute best video games of last year.
Yeah, and I am not
video games.
I am sure as hell not spending $70 blind on anything anymore. I can tell you that.
Like, yeah, if the game's gonna be at the Game Awards, chances are you could spend full price on it. But most things aren't.
Yeah.
Also out this week as we go along, Glittering Sword is out on Xbox, Switch, and PC. This is a 2D indie adventure game with the Zelda-style camera angle. That should give you an idea of exactly what this game looks like. It has a ton of spiritual references to classic games from the 90s, a bright and harmonious visual design, which sets the player up for an exciting adventure from the very beginning. This game looks pretty neat. Like I said, it's got that Zelda like top-down kind of isometric. I don't know what you call it.
We're seeing a lot of those come out. It feels like every week we've had a new one of those style of games come out recently.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. This one though is very much like love letters to the games from the '90s because it has a ton of different references, and that's kind of what they're built. It's a fantasy adventure and like a cozy, kind of familiar '90s world with some Sokoban style puzzles is the way they have it.
What the hell's a Sokoban?
I don't know what Sokoban is. I don't.
All right.
I was hoping you did.
No,
that's why I
no
wrote
idea.
it down. It was on
on
their press release. And last but not least, Arog. Now for PS4, PS5, this is a point-and-click adventure, hand-drawn game. It's been on the Steam for a while. It's got good reviews. It's a puzzle adventure game with hand-drawn art and a very weird, like black and white aesthetic. It looks super cool. I don't know if you remember looking at this game.
No, I didn't look at it at all.
But it's very stylish. I don't think that point-and-click adventures are either of our jams, but there's plenty of people that love these games, so take a look. I think
I do like a good point-and-click adventure every now and then, but it takes something special to hook me in. I've actually been playing a game called Stasis, and it's been out for a couple years, but it's a sci-fi horror point-and-click game, and I'm really into that. By the way, one final thing before we wrap up here: Sokoban. It's a box pusher.
All right.
Sliding box, sliding stone puzzle. And I believe with that last bit of information, that does it for the show.
Oh, I was going to tell you not Endless Space, but Everspace 2, still good after 15 hours.
Okay. Have you dead-ended on the content yet?
I have yet to dead end.
Damn.
but I'm not really trying to. Like,
Okay.
it does a lot of the, hey, can you go do this thing? And I'm like, sure.
Okay.
So I'm not beelining.
Looking forward to playing that when it comes out. David,
Yeah.
this has been GamePoints episode 250, and thank you all very much for showing up. We do stream live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here at Twitch TV/GamePoints. So if you want to be part of the show, like so many of you do, feel free to drop on by. If you can't, however, show up live, you can always catch old shows over at youtube.com/GamePointsPC. You can be part of the greater GamePoints community with our Discord link. You can look down there and it should pop right up. You can follow the show on Twitter at GamePointsPC, myself at CapitalistPig21, and David there over at Palshife_Satori. We're back next Tuesday, but until then, stay safe, take care, and we'll see you around.